Hello and welcome to all the viewers from Angels Paradise on this wonderful, educative, as well as enriching talk show with Dr. Kamini Rege. Angels Paradise is one of the biggest preschool chain of Punjab and Haryana, as we all know, and we are proud to announce that this year we are growing our preschool into a full-fledged primary school. Angels Paradise was first of its kind, a unique theme-based preschool of Amritsar. We started 15 years back with just one branch, and with the good faith of parents and the grace of God, we are spread over in many cities of Punjab and Haryana. It is my privilege and pleasure to introduce our dynamic speaker on this talk show today, Dr. Kamini Rege. She is Assistant Professor of Nirmala Niketan College, Home Science, Mumbai, as well as founder member and treasurer of National Committee ECA and EPER India. Apart from this, it is my honor today that I'm sharing this wonderful platform with her because she is my mentor, guide, and a very dynamic person who has influenced my life in many aspects. She was my professor in college and she has a very big hand in success of innovative planning and execution of curriculum of Angels Paradise. So, a warm welcome to you, ma'am, and all are my dear parents of my school, and many parents all over the world are really waiting to have wonderful, enlightening words from your
Thank
side.
you. Thank you.
And before we start, I would like to add on some wonderful
Definitely.
achievements that
Definitely.
ma'am,
Thank you. Thank
uh,
you, Muskan.
yeah.
Muskan, I think we should start with the talk show. I'm sure they will look at the Google and they'll find more about me.
Sure, sure, ma'am.
So, little bit about what I would want to share with all the parents before we take the question answer session, Muskan. Uh, right now, the condition that we are all in with this pandemic, it's important that we have to understand that both parents and children are going through a very stressful phase that they had never thought about, a phase that they had never to be locked in the house or they will not be allowed to go out of the house. Of course, the talk that I want to share with you today is about, are we unknowingly harming our children? And in that context, I want to share a few points so that in case when we are taking question answer session, parents are already briefed about these kind of primary concerns that they are facing, or the common concerns that they are facing, why it could be happening. Probably the root cause may be here and they have never realized it. So I'm just kind of briefing a little bit of theoretical platform for the practice to become easy for parents to kind of encourage their children to handle the behavioral issues that they may be facing. So if you allow me, I will just share these few slides which will give a little glimpse about where are we making a parenting mistake. I'm not saying a mistake which is intentionally done, but a parenting mistake. So let me take you through a very beautiful saying by Robert John. Every child has a different learning style and a different pace to grow. Each child is unique, not only capable of learning, but also capable of succeeding. So we are all looking at our children to succeed. Each parent is looking at helping the child succeed, helping the child to do his best. But we have to all understand that every child has a different way of learning. Some children may want to touch and learn, some children may want to listen and learn, some children may want to do and learn, some children may want to just express and learn, some children may want to just probably listen through music, listen through songs, and then learn. So these are different ways, different methods that probably every child has his own style of learning. And probably that is one thing that the parent has to catch on or hold on or understand, so that they can help the child understand what they want to share with the child. Let me talk about a very common problem which many parents face. Are we unknowingly harming our child with a choice of the child's diet? So what is the diet? Very commonly parents have this concern, my child doesn't eat, my child doesn't want to eat this, and I'm making such good food, and the child says no to everything. Yes, very important is the weaning process. The weaning process here means that how are we making these modifications from birth till the child is ready to eat. Sometimes we are just offering the child what the child wants or the child is asking for. But it is important to wean at the right time. If we are not doing that, probably we are creating a challenge for our own self to keep on taking those no's from the child, because as the child grows older, the child has his own determination, thoughts, and his feelings of eating. Also, very important is to help the taste buds develop. Yes, there could be certain challenges when it comes to the child not eating for a very long period of time or has suddenly stopped eating. Please do not try stunts with asking other parents or other relatives, what do I do with the child? It's important to take the child to a correct, right pediatrist and get the correct diagnosis done. Whether it is something to do with the intestinal problem, whether it is something to do with the throat, there is something to do with the mind of the child, and so on and so forth. So let me just quickly share with you some few points that probably will help parents. Provide food very often. One more very very common problem with the parents are that एक बार खा रहा है ना तो दो चपाती, तीन चपातियां, तीन पराठे दे दो. That is the trend that the parents feel. खा रहा है ना तो उतना खा लेने दो. No, dear parents, probably the child wants a smaller size of food content but at a regular interval. So that's what is important. How are you introducing that new food? How are you introducing colors through food to the child? How are you making the food interesting? I understand that most of the mothers, most of the parents are maybe working today and have little less time, but this is one area of your child's food, is one area which is going to help him in many many more things, because when the child is complete, when he's filled with his diet, at that point in time the child is ready to do, ready to play, ready to learn, ready to do a lot of activities, which generally doesn't happen when we feel that okay, एक बार खिला लिया, अब खा लिया है ना उसने, अब पूरा दिन खेलेगा. That's not how it is. There's the content of the food whenever you are introducing also should be smaller. They should not be huge that the child looks at it and says no, I don't want it. Just think about it. The child's stomach is all as big as our fist. Okay, as big as a fist. So how much can you feed in that fist is what your quantity of food should be. I understand. I'm talking to parents of Amritsar and Haryana. They come from a state of ghee, makhan, dahi, all kind of things. So I'm also wanting to share what is the quantity. Another important mistake that very many parents make is that they give their food in front of the television or probably laptop or switch on the TV and give it. Now the child is not going to enjoy the food. He is only gobbling things because his entire focus, his entire attention is towards the screen. So what he is eating is not going to be enjoyed. Next time if you place it, you'll say, "अरे पिछली बार तो इतना किया था तो खा लिया था." But you've not realized that the child has eaten because he was looking at the screen and not at your food. So it's important to have regular scheduled meals, but avoid giving the child food in front of the television or computer. You can switch off the computer or keep the TV off for that period of time. Healthy snacks are very very important. What do I mean by healthy is different for different people. Kurkure can be healthy snacks for you, but it's not the right snacks for children. Pizza may be a good snack for you, but it's not the right snack for children. So very important is the healthy and nutritious snack which is needed. Use the right proportion. I spoke about that, and if you don't know what is the right proportion, check with your pediatrist doctor, who will help you understand what is the quantity that you need to give the child. I have a beautiful chart here which I have shared. The whole PowerPoint I've shared with you, Muskan. You can definitely share with the parents who wish to have that. But this is something that is the quantity which specifies for a 3-year-old, 2-year-old, 4 to 5-year-old, and so on. And once the child is ready to eat that amount of food, I'm sure the child will come and ask you, I would like to have this. I think we all also, when we want a particular type of food, we do go and check out, or we look out for that food. So it is about the taste, it is about the quantity, and it is about the kind. Now I'm going to show you a few images which can be a simple food that you're giving, how you can make it a little more creative, little more interesting for the child. And mind you, when you give this kind of a food, I'm sure Anybody who is watching this will also have watering mouth, that if I am given a food like this, I would love to have it. So yes, a little effort on the part of the parents is needed, but it's about the kind of food that you're giving. How you are presenting the food is also very important for a child. So with this, I think I have also shared about about choosing the healthy food. So what is a healthy food? Is low fiber food healthy food, or high sugar food healthy food? What is the right thing? Correct snacks, correct fruits, correct amount of milk, correct amount of wheat, or probably what we call it as pulses, etc., is important. So I'm now going to show you two, three things. One is, how much of pasta or rice do we need to give? Your own fist. That is the quantity of pasta or rice or cereal that you need to give. How much of meat? If you're giving a non-veg, this is your palm size, is the size of meat product that you need to give in the entire day. That is the proportion. So you, how do you distribute it through the day is up to you. Look at the amount of cheese. It's only as big as your thumb, is the size of the cheese that you're going to give, and peanut butter is just the tip of. But what are we doing? Are we giving this too much, and are we reducing on the other food? Because when the child has too much of fat, too much of cheese, his food content, his requirement for food content will be less because of the excess fat that he takes in. And then you will say the child keeps sitting through the day, he just doesn't do any activities, because the kind of food that you have given has helped him to just be a potato, a couch potato. That's what we are working towards. So that's where the parents need to look into. And if you have helpers at home, or maybe babysitters at home, do request them to prepare these kind of things. They can make it in and distribute it through the day, and definitely give the child this quantity of food. So let me talk about what exactly happens when you give this kind of a fast food. Which part of the body does really affect the child? Now, very interesting sentence that you see here. Don't eat anything your grandmother won't recognize as food. Very interesting. So probably our grandmothers never recognized burgers and pizzas and nuggets and things like. I'm not saying don't give them ever. Once in a while. That once in a while should not be once in a week. It should be once in 15 days. Because yes, this should be an additional top up food, which can be an substitute. But the rest of the 15 days, the child is eating healthy food, which is needed. Now, what exactly happens? These are the common things that we give the child just to keep him quiet. Maybe when we have gone out, or when we are in the shopping mall or anything like that, just to keep the child quiet, we give him a burger, we give him some, a small piece of tacos, or maybe Coke and things like that. How is it helping, or how is it rather creating a problem in your child's system? Look at this. Where all does that affect? It affects the brain of the child, it affects the liver of the child, it affects the kidney of the child, it does affect the stomach, the large and the small intestines, and definitely the lungs. You will see your child, when he drinks too much of Coke, he will tell you, I am not feeling hungry, because there's an excess level of sugar that you have put into the child's system. The brain is going to act very, very rapidly after that. You try doing this. Give a chocolate piece at night and see how your child will run from one corner to the other. Why? You give him chocolate ice cream, because the sugar level, when it increases, the brain is the first thing that starts working of the children, and they will not be able to sit in one place. They will not be able to go peacefully to their sleeping room. They will cry, crib, make noise. And that's the second point that I'm going to now come to. Are we unknowingly harming our children because of the proper lack of sleep? So probably food could be one way why we are disrupting the child's sleep. And mind you, this is an entire vicious circle. I'm going to bring you back to the food probably a little later as you go about. So here is the sleep concern, the sleep pattern. Let me share some slides on sleep. Now you have to all understand what is my age, my child's age, and how much is my child sleeping. If your child is not getting the bedtime which has been given here, which is a recommended bedtime by the pediatrist, or all kind of pediatrists who are working for children, if your child is not getting this amount of sleep, yes, there could be a possibility that some children sleep in the afternoon some period of time, and then at night. But the total number of hours should be, for any child who is between 1 month to 12 months, that is around till 1 year, is approximately 12 to 14 hours. 3 to 6 years is 10 to 12 hours. 7 to 12 years, 9 to 11 hours. And mind you, nowadays we go off to sleep much, much later. It has been said very beautifully, early to bed, early to rise keeps a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. And probably we are losing on all these three things of healthy, wealthy, wealthy, forget about it, but healthy and wise. These two things we are missing. So we have to consider that maybe something is wrong somewhere. We have to, probably you may be awake, but yes, it's important to put the child off to sleep. Yes, you may have to give up on your serial time, because that's the time, when your best serial is coming. Or you may have to switch it off, because once the child gets into the pattern, he will not disturb you. But till the time the child sets into the pattern, it is important that these suggestions should be taken far more, because the next day, if the child has not completed his sleep well, he is going to get cranky, he is going to become very rigid, he's going to ask for, he's going to be demanding, you are going to get very hassled, you are going to scream at the child, and it's all going to be a full circle, where by the end of it you say, what's wrong with my child? Why is my child not listening to me? So what happens, what helps if the child sleeps well? What How does it help? Now, when the child sleeps well, or for sleeping well, what are the things to be kept in mind? A little later I'll come to. But yes, what are the things that does not allow my child to sleep? So any kind of caffeine. Caffeine is, even in the chocolates you find caffeine. So avoid chocolates, avoid any kind of cokes at night time especially. Going to bed at the same time every day is very important. Same time doesn't mean 9.36 minutes. No, it's 9 to 9:15 or 9:15 to 9:30 is a bedtime. So putting the child into his night suit, or probably getting him to putting the lights dim, or getting him to the room, going and telling him a short story, bedtime story. These are different things that you can help. Making checking out, whether his mattress is comfortable, if his bedding is comfortable, helping him drink water before he goes off to sleep. A simple meditating music can be there in the room. Spending time outside can be avoided. Yes, once in a while this can happen, but if it becomes a regular routine, then it's not a right thing. Having a lighter dinner, that means maybe having good dinner at around 6:30, 7 o'clock is better than having a very heavy dinner, because heavy dinner will not allow you to sleep so well. So these are some things which should be avoided or should be done, so that they can help in keeping the child away from being awake. It's also about the kind of circulation in your room, avoiding any kind of stress or anxiety, some kind of fight, some kind of argument, some kind of difference of opinion, which are generally discussed at the table time or over the phone, or at the dining table, should be preferably avoided in front of the children, because children are very sensitive. It does reflect on the child's sleep. So, looking at this quickly, probably I have shared all these points. Having a consistent sleep routine, putting the child off to sleep when the child is drowsy rather than he's overtired. When he's overtired, he will want to be awake and he will want to do all kinds of activities. Performing the same bedtime routine, changing his clothes, maybe giving him a hot water bath, changing his clothes, giving him a glass of milk or water or whatever. Avoid screen time, optimizing sleep environment, dimming the light, probably eating much before the bedtime, and don't feed the child at the bed until unless he's unwell. Only in that condition you can feed him at the bed. But avoid these things. A lot of child may be attached to something, it could be a small little pillow of his, it could be a soft toy of his, it could be a blanket of his. Do give him that and let him sleep with that. Probably he feels more cozy and comfortable and secure. Be aware of the impact of having a second child. Very often, we miss out on these things, that because mama is going to have a second child, you have to go and sleep by yourself. Don't do that. Preparation for a second child is equally important, because you're not adding any anxiety to the child. You are helping him to be a part of this entire new process of getting a new sibling. The third important point to coming to now is the disciplinary techniques, because many a times when the children don't listen, what exactly happens? I'm sure you must have seen, Muskan, and I'm sure a lot of parents would have had this experience, that when they go to a mall and when the child asks or demands for a particular toy, okay, the next reaction is, no, you have this already at home. And the next minute what happens is that the child starts throwing temper tantrum. Okay, these temper tantrums becomes a very awkward situation for the parents, and parents start feeling, oh my god, he's making so much of noise. Okay, and what do the parents do? They give up. The minute they give up, that is where you have lost the battle. You have lost your entire disciplinary technique. Because it's the first time that if you tell the child that this is what you're going to get, and I will give it to you because you don't have it, and this is what you are not going to get because you have it, or you have enough, when there is a need you will get it. If that clarity is there, and with the reasons, I think the child will understand. Yes, you may find the child rolling on the floor because you've said a no. You will find child throwing temper tantrums. Yes, it will happen. Don't be awkward, because you don't want to be at the mercy of the child every time if you correct him for the first time. It's very important. It's very, very needed. Using inappropriate discipline techniques is one major concern, because of which the parents lose their battle. And I'm going to share few types of parenting methods. Attachment parenting. Attachment is, many a times this happens because parents are so busy through the day. Probably they don't have enough time, and I have no time to give my child. So whatever time I have with my child, I just want to hold my child. I just want to give him everything because I don't have so much time. This is a wrong process of helping the child. You are not helping the child. You are only spoiling the child. Another parent is a helicopter parent. Helicopter parent is he will hover on it. क्या कर रहा है बेटा तू? अच्छा इससे खेल रहा है? नहीं इससे मत, इससे खेल. ये हाथ से लग जाएगा. वो हो जाएगा. These are helicoptering parents who are not wanting to spare their children by themselves. उधर मत जा, गिर जाएगा. It's okay. वो बॉल नीचे चला गया है, मैं निकाल के देती हूँ. This is something that should be avoided, because the child has to learn things by himself. It's very, very important to learn that experience of not being a helicopter parent. Yes, you need to be vigilant of what the child is doing. If the child is in a crisis situation, सोफा के इसके ब्रिम के ऊपर जाके खड़ा हो गया है, and he's saying मम्मा मैं कूदने वाला हूँ, and you are waiting, नहीं I don't want to become a helicopter parent, उसको कूदने दो. नहीं, that's not something. You need to be around him. Let him jump, give him a support, but say that you are not going to do this when your mommy or daddy is not around you. Okay, it's very, very important when we have to look at these things. Next kind of a parent is permissive parent. Permissive parent is giving up everything. अच्छा मम्मी मेरे को कोक चाहिए अभी, हाँ बेटा अभी ला के देती हूँ. मम्मा मेरे को अभी के अभी ऑमलेट बना के दो, अच्छा बेटा अभी करके देती हूँ. अरे और क्या मांगता है मेरा बच्चा, कुछ तो खाने के लिए मांगता है, कुछ तो खिलौना मांगता है. दैट इज बीइंग परमिसिव. That means you're giving up on everything. There is no restriction, no reasoning, no questioning, and these kind of children will become very demanding. And then not only will become demanding with parents, but they will become demanding with an environment, and that's not going to be appreciated by the environment here means his own peer groups, his own teachers and things like that. And then he's not going to be liking, and he will not be liked by the people, and that will not be appreciated by the child himself. It will become a major social interaction issue for this child, because it is his parents who had allowed everything. He's expecting that these things will be allowed by anybody. Another kind of a parenting is authoritarian parenting, and there is something called as authoritative parenting. I will come to authoritarian a little later, but I'll come to the authoritative. Authoritative parent is somebody who is going to give up on. Just 1 second, Muskan. Just 1 second. Yeah. So authoritative parent is somebody who will actually balance out everything. That means they will give a reason. I'm not doing this because of XYZ reason. I am not allowing you this because of XYZ reason. I will allow you this because this is what it is. I'm taking this decision because, and there is a mutual understanding. If the child says, I want to watch this, okay, why do you want to watch this? All right, fine. I'm sitting here. You can watch whatever you want. But if I see anything which is going to be very aggressive, very destructive, I'm going to change it. So the parent is giving a reason and explanation to the child, and making this whole thing a very mutual consent. So the child may turn around and say, Daddy, now it's becoming fighting, there is fighting over there. So the child may turn around and tell the parent, and it will become easier for parent to handle. And of course, if the parent is sitting, parent also can view it and say that should we change it, should we see something else, or else what are the right things which are happening, which are the wrong things which are happening. These are the things which need to be discussed with the child, whichever age group it is, because children are very, very understanding, they are receptive to all kind of things, and that is important. Another set of parents are authoritarian. Okay, that means where the parents are being very, 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 very rigid. No means no, without giving an explanation, without giving a reason, without giving any understanding. नहीं बोला ना, पर नहीं क्यों बोल रहे हो, नीचे नहीं जाना है, बस मेरी मर्जी, आज नहीं जाना है नीचे. That is what is very wrong. Again, it's exactly opposite of permissive parent. Permissive is आप सब leniently करने दे रहे हो, और authoritarian is बिल्कुल नहीं करने दे रहे हो, जो मैं कहूंगा वही पूर्व दिशा. That kind of a thing. That should be avoided. Uninvolved parents. Now, uninvolved is करने दो जो करता है, क्या हम कितना टाइम रहेंगे उसके साथ, उसने करना है, सीखना है. No, that's also another concern, another end of, or another set of parents who feel that it doesn't bother me now. ठीक है, करने दो, हमको जो नहीं करने मिला वो उनको करने मिल रहा है ना. That is also extremely not appropriate. So a quick review on what I spoke about: the permissive, neglecting, rejecting parents, undemand. These kind of children are the undemanding parents' expectations with expects little children. Parents expect little from children. That means they expect very, very minimum from children, which are permissive, rejecting, and neglecting parents. Authoritarian and authoritative, these have differences here. These are supportive parents accepting and they're accepting what the child is wanting. So there's a reciprocal relationship, there's a bi-directional communication. There is a communication which is coming from the child also, and there's a communication which is coming from the parent also. But this is the authoritarian kind of a parent, is a controlling parent, total powerhouse, and the minute that parent walks into the house, the child will feel so tyrant, ab ye kare ki nahi kare. Okay, a very, very simple example if I have to give, and I'm sure everybody would have watched a movie called as Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. What exactly happened with Amrish Puri when he walks into the house with Kajol and her sister, was an authoritarian kind of a parenting. So probably, it'll make more sense if I have to. Though he did not have any wrong intention, but his word was the final word. That's it. Bol diya, uske baad koi aur alternate nahi. So that kind of an avoidance is important. Another part of parenting is about general cleanliness. पूरा दिन पेरेंट्स गेट वर्कड अप विद इतना सामान बिखेरा होता है, सब मुझे उठाना पड़ता है, इसलिए इसको टॉयज ही नहीं देते हैं हम लोग. That's another end. Okay, so what is important is that do not pick up all the child's toys by yourself. Ask him to be a part of it. You can do it initially, and slowly and steadily you could reduce your input of picking up those toys and let the child do most of it. Also very important is you give a timer. Sometimes you can even have a stand timer in your house where you say, okay, now I'm putting this timer and I want all the toys out of this. Or you can have a count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those kind of things. These are things which are going to help parents, because they are not going to be fagged out with everything I have to pick up. Yes, for younger children you have to pick up, but even younger children, when you're doing it, do the picking up in front of the children, because the children get to see, oh, mama picks up everything and puts it back into the container. If she keeps it like that only, the child says, ये सब चलता है मम्मी को, ऐसा ही रहेगा तो भी चलेगा, कोई problem नहीं. So that's a parenting skill that we have to learn. Also, very often we have seen when the children get off, I want you to see these two pictures, a mother and a father here and a mother here. Very often स्कूल से बच्चा उतरा नहीं स्कूल बस से कि मम्मी डैडी लगे भाग के उसका बैग उठाने के लिए, उसकी वाटर बोतल. अरे उसको उठाने दो ना उसका वजन, अभी स्कूल तक तो उसने उठाया था ना, बस तक तो उसने उठाया था ना. तो why you have to pick it up? Let the child be let him take the responsibility at least of his bag, and let him go and put it. Tell him where he has to put it. It's important to give his responsibility and tell him you have to get this back in the same manner that you're taking. Don't lose anything, which is important. But don't lift it for him where he becomes a free flyer and he says, so next time what are you going to do? ये आप उठा लेना, वो आप उठा लेना, मैं आराम से चल के जाऊंगा. Later on, if you feel, कि why my child is not helping me even pick up one bag, because it's you who has trained him like that. So it's important. These are small things which we miss out. We do it because it's our care, concern, affection, love. But we miss out that these are disciplinary techniques which we need to share. Another important thing, very, very often you will find children screaming and shouting at, "Mujhe ye chahiye hai." Okay, that's how they will do it, right? And why does it happen? Because they've seen their adults doing it. They see when the mother has to say, "I don't want you to scream," but she's screaming and telling the child. So if she's screaming and telling the child is observing कि ये सही है, इसी तरह से बोलना चाहिए मुझे. So it's important that how calm, how comfortable are you even to handle your own anger? How do you speak to your husband? How do you speak to your mother? How do you speak to your servant? All these things are observed by the child, and he's only picking up from there what can be done, what is right, what is wrong. Another important thing, there's no need to scream and shout. Very often, a simple punishment can help is timeout. Timeout is okay, fine. You take your 5 minutes, rest over there. After you have sulked, after you have cried, after you have got over everything, come back, tell me properly without screaming, and I will listen to you. And even after that, if the child comes in 2 minutes and tells you, "No, Mama, now I'm telling you properly," no, I want you to spend those 5 minutes over there. Give those 5 minutes to the child to be spent over there, because the child will realize that when I spoke so loudly, my mama did not appreciate it. And she has not beaten me up, she's not screamed at me, but she's given me a timeout. That means I'm not supposed to, for those 5 minutes, I'm not supposed to move from here. Let him move, let him be in that corner, let him be in that room, but you are not going to interact and not going to take any next instruction from him till the 5 minutes are over. These are small things. Probably they are behavior modifications which will help children do better in their life also.